Right, because people need to get vaccinated. That's what's important in life right now.
I just don't want to wear a mask anymore. So, Biden told me get vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. I was like, all right, done, bro. Let's do this.
Follow the man.
And technically, it was the CDC.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I figured shit was probably gonna start to go back to
We're talking about games for my son.
normal.
Well, and I was going to say for the record, like they literally released some numbers, and San Francisco has the most highly vaccinated population in the United States. And guess what? They have zero COVID cases in the hospital since then.
Oh,
So
interesting.
vaccines
Okay.
work. Get your
Uh,
vaccine.
well, it does a vaccine work for a made up virus?
Or
When there's more important things we should be worrying about, like
Like the
UFOs.
economy. Yeah, the
No,
economy and UFOs.
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 And
The
Area
fact that
51.
Area 51.
Oh, for the record, I watched Army of the Dead last night, and Zack Snyder confirmed the first zombie in his franchise, because it's going to be a franchise. They're already making a prequel, and they're making an animated series. So Netflix is all in on Army of the Dead. But anyway, the first zombie from his series is from Area 51.
That's what started it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what started it.
Oh, Genesis.
Which I would recommend. It's a really interesting take on the zombie movie. The zombies actually are interesting. Like they're not just boring. They're good.
Well, you wouldn't have to make zombies interesting if it was a good concept, but
Like you have a king zombie. He has his queen, and like there's so much I can't say.
The
'cause I don't wanna
hierarchy.
spoil it. There is
I
a
wish
hierarchy.
I wish
Okay.
I wish I could slap Zack Snyder right now.
I would
Ready
give
for
him a
that.
slap on the back and say, "Great job, my friend."
Well, you could slap him on the back and say, "Do you know what? There's with the door that says superhero movies on one side and then everything, all other movies on the other." You could kind of give him a slap on the back and just push him away from the superhero movie door because he does a fucking terrible job of superhero movies.
I don't know. I'm only halfway through Justice League, and it's not bad.
It's better
Yeah,
than what we
box
got
quote.
the first time.
Yeah, because that's such an endorsement.
I like Ben Affleck as Batman personally.
I think
He's probably my favorite.
Batfleck.
See, I don't like
Batfleck,
I
yeah.
don't like Batfleck, but I love Henry Cavill as Superman and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It's like the perfect combo.
Yeah, shame the film is 4 hours long, dull, and it has really oddly odd choices of music at really strange points within the film. Some of and then the wider audio mix just seems a bit off. But other than that, the film's great. Pacing's terrible. Okay, you do a bit better of actually fleshing out some of the characters. What the fuck is Martian Manhunter doing there? But other than that, the film's great.
Well, technically, at the very end, it was supposed to be Green Lantern, but the executives wouldn't allow it, which was a little frustrating. So he had to put Martian Manhunter in.
Mm. Who cares? Because we're never going to see the real film. The whole thing about Superman siding with Darkseid, that wouldn't happen. If it would be the alternate universe, Matt, you'll know which comic book series this is. The one where he
Red
takes
Sun?
Superman takes over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that Lois Lane's been murdered by Darkseid, but now I don't care about the world and I'm going to start sucking Darkseid's cock for a living. What
Okay,
the hell was that?
Hold up. Okay, I have to counter this. Is that's not what the story particularly was.
God, I'm sorry I brought this up, guys.
I know he died. He went in the can of worms. I must defend is that he killed Lois Lane. He blames Batman, and in that moment of time, Superman is susceptible to have the equation used on Superman to have control of Superman. So like it's not that he all of a sudden is like, oh, I'll join your team. None of that
is explained in the film. All it is one scene: Superman holding a pile of ashes, and then the world goes to shit.
Keith,
None of it is explained.
Keith, but it was supposed to be
It's-
in another movie.
But if no, I'm not going to forgive it.
He made
Well
the movie
well
as
done
if
for
there was
making
going
a
to be
film.
another movie. That's the whole point. He said that. He's like, I can't shoot any more additional scenes. I have to make the movie that I was planning on making, and I was planning on making 2 more movies.
Yeah, well, don't.
Like even that post.
That's like saying I'm going to make a video game, bringing it back to games, that ends oddly because you think that on the off chance that the publisher or platform holder is going to give you the keys to the car to drive off into the sunset and make a sequel. It's not guaranteed.
But
you
he
need to make a
signed
coherent story.
He signed a multi-movie deal. Like he was, they were planning on.
So what? That's like saying that an American footballer,
but here's
like
the
Aaron Rodgers, he signed a multi-million-dollar deal. He wants to rip up his contract and he wants to get paid again.
But no,
nothing is guaranteed.
No, but
make something coherent and then deliver it.
But
thank you very much.
Keith, the difference is, say this was Mass Effect 2, and they didn't get a Mass Effect 3. And people were upset with the Mass Effect 2 that was released, and they said,
"But 2 is a coherent story."
And they
ends.
no.
Even if you go on the suicide mission and fuck everything up, it's still a solid story. It's still got a solid ending.
It does have a solid ending.
No, it doesn't. It's
yes,
the
it
endings
does. They kill Steppenwolf. That's a solid ending. They stop the bad guy from using the mother boxes. He's
a shitty villain.
Yeah, he is.
Jesus Christ, you're making me sick.
Well, the only way I can make you feel even more sick than you do right now is just by saying PlayStation is a rubbish platform and it has no good games. Hashtag Xbox rules.
I don't care. Here's the thing, Keith. I don't care. I'm not a fanboy of any capacity. I think people are. And I got to defend myself on this one. I think people.
I know you're not. It's just I like wiping you up.
I'm hard on Xbox because I want them to make fucking good games. Like they used to make good games, and I used to like playing their games. Now they make shitty games, and I want them to do better. So if I'm going to criticize them to bring up their level, they need to do that because I want to play a great Gears of War game. I want to play a killer Halo game. I want to play a good Phil Spencer game. Oh, Taps, I'm looking at you, bro.
It's a perfect segue. It's a perfect segue into the intro.
Phil Spencer Simulator. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming to Game Pass 2023.
I'll just buy that outright. If it's on Game Pass, I don't care.
You know what the game is?
Here's my money.
Studio, buy this one. Which studio will you buy? I'll buy this one. You have $20 billion, $550 million left. How many more studios do you want to buy? 7 more. Let's go that one, that one. That's the Phil Spencer Simulator.
It's like when I used to play. It's like when I used to play Theme Park back in the day and turn like unlimited money on, and you couldn't lose. That is what the Phil Spencer game would be.
Yeah.
It's like people going in their roller coaster rides, but they're going to the games that the studio he buys. So Bethesda, there's a long line.
That's it.
For it.
Yes, thank you for paying attention to the first hour long we've been ranting about. I've been ranting
12
about
minutes.
Stuff. Yeah,
oh,
that's nearly as long as an opening to the Podquisition. We are Pixel Pints. We are the only podcast that talks about 2 things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We're not here to promote beer or games, but we enjoy both. Thank you. Goodbye. Is that the end of the show now? No, it's not. We're just getting started. We're here today to talk games coming soon. Let's hope they don't suck. Because there's only 2 default settings to everything on the internet, which is ultra fanboyism or fangirlism or ultra objectivity. We hate everything. So we're going to pick the semi-bad side of that spectrum. Is there a positive side to either of those? And come up with some games that we're slightly worried about. That's probably a better way of phrasing it. No, they might suck. But first things first, Mitch, other than disagreeing with everything I just said about the Snyder Cut, how are things in LA?
It's early in the morning, and I accidentally forgot to rearrange these boxes to where they're more pleasing to me, because usually you're next to me on the top, and somehow you were on the bottom, and I was like, I have to look.
I was on the bottom and looking down.
I have to look down upon you instead of looking up at you. So now I had to change that. So, and then Burkhoff was to the bottom right, where he's always on the bottom left. So I had to change that too. So I apologize for all these faces moving around on the screen.
That's fine. It will make for an interesting watch back.
Yeah. And it's too early in the morning for me to remember that order, because it's 5:15 and I got up at 4:20 this morning. So I'm just tired and drinking Red Bull to keep myself awake.
Good. Matt, what temperature is it in Las Vegas?
It's 12 right now. And yesterday it was a balmy 16. So yeah, we had a cold front come through, and but we should be hitting back much higher temperatures next week as we get into the summer.
Wonderful. That's what you get for living in the desert.
Yep.
And we're joined again, recent guest, the host of the world's best Essex-based gaming podcast, Idle Game Chat, which you can find everywhere at Idle Game Chat. It's OTAPS.
Hello, how's it going?
That's it.
That's it.
Anything else?
I was asking you how it's going.
Oh,
I didn't get a response.
He was asking you, Keith, how you are doing.
I'm
you
not
should be
used to
taking
people
full
asking how
advantage
I
of
am.
that.
As Mitch and I both know, when we host, is that we're not used to actually being asked how we are.
No, not at all.
I'm a bit tired as well, which is probably why I came up with a grouchy type podcast to talk about. Just feeling a bit at the moment. Right, before we get into the topic, does anyone want to talk beers?
It's way too early for me to be drinking.
Yeah, it's too early for you to be drinking, but you could introduce something that you've had recently, because didn't you go out for dinner and didn't you go to Big Dogs?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a week ago. So that was last Friday. They have a I think it's a barrel-aged high-powered beer that I drank. That's I don't really remember what style it was, because it was like 13% or 10%, something like that, and I had two of them.
I believe you said it was a Belgian stout.
Maybe it was a Belgian stout. Yeah, Man's Best Friend #2. I do remember the name. So yeah, if you're in Vegas and you want to go somewhere, hit up Big Dogs and get that. It's really tasty. Goes down smooth, but it'll definitely fuck you up for sure.
Good.
Is that just the line in Las Vegas International Airport?
Goes down
just for
smooth,
the town,
the
city of just for the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think that works.
Right, I am drinking Rooster Brewing 1,000 Yard Stare Hazy Pale Ale, 5.4% ABV, and on the can it says "Drink quality, not quantity." To which I say, why can't we have both?
Indeed.
So it's not as dark as the hazy beer I had last time I was on, but it's definitely hazy. It's not overly hoppy. And it's got quite a floral, herby, lingering taste on the tongue. It's quite nice. I'd happily have a second if I had one, but I don't. So after we've done with this, I'll swap on to something else.
Nice.
Anyone else want to introduce something that's not an energy drink?
No, I would normally be drinking at this time, but I haven't been well the last week, so I've been off the sauce. So I won't be drinking this weekend either. So nothing to report on, unfortunately.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to drink because it makes you feel better.
I know, but I was that ill that it's put me off having bad food or drink for a little while. So
that's fair.
Next weekend, I'm sure I would have forgotten about it, but I still feel like I'm recovering slightly.
Wasn't that the line from Dean Martin. I feel sorry for people who don't drink, because when they wake up in the morning, that's the best they're going to feel all day.
I'll have something next week.
And I've seen, Mitch, you know those Japanese marble drinks that you had? I've seen them in the supermarket here. I may get myself one.
Give it. I recommend getting the one that isn't like flavored. Get the standard one first, because the ones that are flavored, they just are so hyped up in sugar. It's like it's tasting like syrup. But the regular version, the original, doesn't really have that flavor. So I get a couple, but start with the original before trying the other ones.
Okay, and before we get into the topic, do you want just to pass a quick comment about...
No, I'll save it for another week.
Save it for another week. Right, okay. After the long intro and short beer talk, let's get into games coming soon. Let's hope they don't suck.
I was going to say, how do you want to tackle this? Because I have a list of... I literally pulled up the IGN list of all the games coming out.
Yeah, I've got a list too.
I went through a list and I picked out 3 titles that I am concerned about the final product for various different reasons. Actually, 2 different reasons, because 2 of the games could be considered to be very similar. So... shall I start and then we'll just carry on?
So are we starting with the Danger Will Robinsons first, and then we're going to the I think this will be good?
Well, we could take it as a this could turn out well. However, right now, this has got a really good chance of being a terrible game.
Okay, I got one already, so. You can go first, though, because you got your list.
I've got 2. I'm going to blend these together, and I'm going to continue slagging off Warner Brothers. And the 2 games that I think may end up being terrible are Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad.
That is not a hot take. That's pretty solid. I agree with you. Well, especially with Gotham Knights, holy cow, how that game looks so mediocre in every way possible.
Except for this, okay, the one redeeming factor for that game, it's not got the bat tank in it from Arkham Knight.
But one thing it doesn't have is the smooth combat system that what it's known for. Like, it's a completely different combat system.
And the other thing that gravely concerns me is, after grinding through quite a lot of Outriders, which I'm still going to do, I'm not going to get the 1,000 game score because I think I'll just be burnt out on it by then. But is Arkham Knight going to be a similarly piss poorly balanced game that if you try and attempt to play it single player, it's just going to be impossible?
You mean Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights. Who cares? Let's see. It's so forgettable. I can't even remember the title.
Well, it's because there's no Batman in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a risk. Like, they're definitely taking a risk by just having sort of the Bat family. And not having
minus Damian
Batman.
Wayne, the most coolest Batman. I mean, coolest Robin of all the Robins, for God's sakes. Like, seriously. Sorry, keep going.
I don't remember what you guys were talking about in terms of it not having the combat, the smooth combat. I thought that it was going to be based
they've
on
they've redesigned the combat system
because it doesn't
support
because it doesn't support co-op.
Oh, okay.
So what they've basically tried to do is take the team up sections from Arkham Knight, which were you'd fight with Nightwing and Catwoman on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
And turn that into an entire game. No, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be fun with friends. It could be fun with friends if you have people that you enjoy playing games with. But I don't know. It doesn't.
I have people I enjoy playing games with. They also have lives. So it kind of goes back to a wider point about if every game is going to become online
Avengers.
or online competitive multiplayer. Playing with could you imagine playing with randoms
No.
on that? It's just people. The level of griefing that people could do?
You know what this reminds me of? And that's why it has me worried? Avengers.
Yeah.
It has that same type of look and feel.
At least it's not a games as service. So it does have a story
that we know of.
So that we know of. And then Batman might come back at the end. And then equally, how are they going to deliver, how are Rocksteady then going to deliver a similar type game?
Yeah. That's the big
with
thing. Is
Suicide Squad?
It feels like they're trying to achieve the same thing with a very similar property, and neither properties in the same idea are interesting to me, really. When I break it down, that seems like a huge waste of those characters and that setting and whatnot.
The thing that, when I started thinking about this, came to mind was, is there a way that they could do it single player where you can play as the different characters? So in the same vein as GTA 5. So if you want to you want to be Nightwing, you can go off and do some Nightwing missions. Maybe there's some team up elements in some of the missions that you do. Then the story shifts, so you've got to be Batgirl. So you actually go and play as her, not a totally co-op story game through the entirety of the game. Because and I know I'm going to use the example of Outriders, which I class as a B tier game, whereas obviously Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad have got the triple A juice squeezed all over them.
It's got that Parmigiano of the AAA.
I don't know if I like the image of AAA juice being squeezed.
I see it as that black truffle AAA topping on all my stuff, just black truffle at all.
That's not the image that I got in my head, but maybe I'm not well in the.
Maybe it's your second shot feeling.
It's Bobby Kotick and Zack Snyder back to back, squeezing oranges between each other.
You're not making this any better for me. But anyway, continue, please.
I don't even know where I'm going with this now.
Well, I was going to say is
I mentioned AAA juice squeezing. That's just it. I'm gone.
To be honest, I'm holding out hope for Suicide Squad because they haven't really said much and they haven't shown anything like they have with Knights. And I would say I have more faith in Rocksteady than I do with who's doing it?
WB Montreal.
WB Montreal. I have way more confidence in Rocksteady than I do because I thought the Batman Arkham Origins games was just okay. Wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was. They took the entire Rocksteady formula, and it was almost as if
copy paste
someone
job.
Else was. Yeah,
it was like making someone else's game, literally.
Yeah,
and figuratively, it felt like you were making someone else's game. It wasn't your game. That's what it felt.
Yeah,
like.
But it wasn't like you've given something to Bluepoint and they've totally remade it, so it looks and feels different. It just feels like you've outsourced this, haven't you?
Yeah. It felt like a licensed game, but for once it wasn't bad. It just, it was a licensed game.
Has everyone here played Ghost Recon Wildlands?
I played
Why did we do such a thing?
Breakpoint, not Wildlands.
Okay,
so you guys, a tiny bit of it, yeah.
You guys know how the AI system works in that, where you can direct your companions, or they'll just sort of take off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
If something like that is in Suicide Squad and it's supposed to be multiplayer, I think that might work.
I just have a feeling they may just not have the other Suicide Squad members with you if you're not playing as one of them.
Okay.
So just Harley Quinn beating the living shit out of Superman, which would be exciting. Don't get me wrong. I love the concept of the Suicide Squad killing the Justice League. Like, that's a cool concept. We'll see how the game actually works.
Yeah, and this is where it comes back to balance. And why I thought of, if you've got a game with multiple characters in it, and you can do that. The immediate thought was zooming out of Franklin and going and playing as Michael.
Yeah.
So if that's how they're building it, I think because whilst I do have friends, honestly, I don't really get to play games with many of them. So it would be really difficult for me to set up parties of 2, 3, or 4 people to play Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad. And I think if that's the case and you end up playing it with randoms or you're being forced to play online only,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just going to be a diminishing return.
Well, I
Personally, just my opinion.
Well, and then here's the other thing is just, and this is just kind of a nitpicky thing for me, is I love what DC does because it's different from Marvel, and I do like that take chances on their properties just in general. However, the risk of them doing that is they have the risk of missing more. It's like the example, Harley Quinn. I do not like the voice who is doing Harley Quinn in the Rocksteady version. After watching the films, I think is serviceable, but to be truthfully honest, after watching the Harley Quinn show that's on HBO Max, it is just so perfect as Harley Quinn that I was like, and if people don't know, it's Penny from The Big Bang Theory who's swearing up a storm all the time. And she is super good at it that I was like, oh, she really would do well in this game. And I think they just
look at the original voice actor from the Batman animated series, because she was
great
perfect.
too. Yeah, she was great too. So like, I'm just not and again, this is all based off one trailer we've seen. I'm not too crazy about her.
It seemed to me like it seemed to me like whoever was doing the voice acting was doing a Margot Robbie doing Harley Quinn impersonation.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to step away from the movies. I feel like the game got greenlit probably because the movie did well,
despite being terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still financially successful.
So to wrap up your 2 games, which one has you more worried? Is it the Gotham Knights or is it the
Gotham Knights? Because it's closer. We've seen gameplay. And I think if that tanks, what's that going to do to the Warner Brothers games studios, which have just been bought for 43 billion?
No way.
By Discovery. So yeah, I know that was part and parcel of the bigger deal, but if that game tanks, what's going to happen to WB Montreal? They're just going to get subsumed into making Mortal Kombat DLC. It could happen.
That's your punishment. Get sucked into hell making DLC for Mortal Kombat in the Nether Realm.
Right. OTAPs, do you have a game that you think, this might suck?
Yeah, I mean, this comes out of a love of the studio because I've loved pretty much most of their games, especially from last gen and even going back to the 360 era and PS3. But I am concerned about Deathloop.
That was mine.
on 2 fronts. One, no one gives a fuck about it apart from me, it seems. So that
Evan will not hear a bad word said about Arcane Studios in this game.
And rightly so. They're a fantastic studio. I've loved their games. I think they're great. But to see that no one give a shit about this is disheartening for one. And 2, I feel like just in the last week, I kind of understand how the game functions. And even then, I'm not sure. And I've watched about an hour's worth of developer interviews and whatnot. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with this. I don't know how it's going to work. It feels like they're venturing into the roguelike genre, which seems to be the new hotness. And I know all these games that have started doing it were in development years ago, but it's strange how they're all sort of converging in this period of time. But when that game flows, like seeing like the developers play it, and you're clearly powered up at that level, like it looks really fun, like just ripping through people and chucking out powers and whatnot. But I just think people are going to play that and just think, what am I doing here? Being reset? How's this going to work? And then they added in the feature where someone can play as like the rogue agent. I can't remember her name, but you can kind of have people invade your game. And I was like, oh god, I don't want. I don't want to get to the last fucking. I know you can turn it off, but I don't want to. I like to keep those things on, but still, I don't want to get to the last target and then have some fucking Burke from Australia snipe me at the last second and ruin my good run. But
are you mentioning Australia? Is that because your viewing figures or listening figures for Idle Game Chat have dropped off there?
Well, yeah, the one person we knew that listened to there hasn't commented for a while, so he needs to put his finger out. And he's not even a proper Aussie. He moved over there from these parts, so traitor as well. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, I trust Arcane, but I don't know what the fuck this game is. Mitch, what do you think? Sorry, Matt. I just want to hear Mitch's thoughts because it's his effort as well.
Well, the fact they came out with a preview of this game and many developers said, I still don't know what this game does. Like, clearly they did not do their job right. If it's supposed to be a game preview, you should know what the game is about. And the fact that many journalists come out going, I don't know.
Looks fun.
I'm not sure what this is. I'm not really. It's like, then how am I supposed to know? Like, if you, the journalist who spends I was gonna say all day long playing games. I know that's not totally true, but you spend all day long playing games, and you write tons of stories about games. You've played almost every genre under the wazoo, and you go into this game, and they can't help you understand what this game really is. Maybe this game is just going to be crap.
Right. I've got thoughts on this, mainly because I wanted to stop Matt from talking.
Because he breathed. He's like,
sorry, Matt.
He was taken back. His precious Arcane got attacked, so he had to take a breath. Oh, poor Evan.
I was gearing up to talk, and we couldn't let that happen.
I feel bad for Evan. Evan's not here to defend Arcane because that's one of his favorite studios.
The thing is, I don't think this game mechanically will be bad. I think it will play brilliantly, but when I watched the preview that was released, was it GameSpot or IGN released it? The one that came out this week, it was about 8 minutes long.
I think a few of them did.
They have like 4 different places that had previews.
Done like a watch along, didn't they?
Yeah. So the thing that concerns me is it's a game that I'll have to play with a notepad beside me.
Yes.
So who's
going to be where, when?
Yeah, who's going to be where, when, and what things do you have to do at what moment in time to be able to manipulate where the targets are going to be so that you can kill all 8 in one single day cycle. Now, I don't really like the idea of having to write my own guide for a game whilst playing the game.
It's a very old school concept. You know, because you used to like draw your own maps and stuff. So getting back to what Otaps was saying, like nobody knows what the fuck is really going on. I have to agree. Like I don't really know what the hell they're doing, and to me it feels like Dreams Nebulous. All of the marketing behind that was like, you're gonna be able to do whatever you want, and then it comes out and it's a game engine, is what it is.
But you can do whatever the fuck you want.
But I'm saying like the way that they marketed it was this nebulous concept, and the way that they're doing Deathloop is this very vague nebulous concept. And like when it comes out, we'll all probably get our hands on it and be like, oh, this is what this is. Okay.
The other thing that concerns me about it, because I need to interrupt Matt, he's spoken for long enough, is if within this defined cycle of, so I think they said there was 4 times a day or 3 times a day. Morning. There was morning, afternoon, and evening. I think so. There's 3 times a day that you can play in, and each of those 3 times you've got to figure out how you can kill people, and you can't. When's the cutoff? So. When does the loop?
All of a sudden you're like, oh crap! It turned to afternoon. I got to start all over again.
Yeah. I think there's 4 areas as well, and I was like, so there's 3 times a day in 4 areas.
how long?
How am I going to
tackle-
keep track on all these people and where they're at?
Well, how long does it take to tackle one area?
We don't know. As long
No.
as you want. So there's no time limit set on
It's a
how
loop.
long you can be in an area.
Oh no, I
or a
understand
specific
that.
time.
I mean,
but
in regards to like how long does it take for a person to figure it out?
I mean, it's probably gonna be Majora's Mask first person shooter.
Mm. They did mention that. I remember, I think it was Easy Allies at the preview, and that was the one game that I hadn't heard kind of referenced against it, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting, but whether it will function in a first person action game, I don't
I don't know.
know.
The final point I'd like to make on this game is like Otaps was saying. So it's Arcane Studios. You've got Dishonored with guns in terms of powers,
Yeah.
but if you're being forced to replay 3 times a day, 4 different stages over and over and over again,
People are going to get turned off.
yeah, and particularly
quickly.
if you've got to start from, say, a base character and level them up like you do in Dishonored. So all you do is start with the blink mechanic, and you've got to unlock all these other powers. That's going to turn people off very quickly. I think I'm hoping that they will give you a wider suite of powers from the outset, so that you can actually use the 4 stages and the 4 different times a bit more like a toy box. So you can go and you pretty much know that you are the most powerful character in the zone, and you can just go and cause havoc. But from that havoc, you can learn what you're supposed to do in sequence to be able to kill all 8 targets. If they don't get that right, it's going to be a chore for people to have to try and go through and figure out, what am I meant to do in the morning? What am I meant to do in the afternoon?
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Yeah.
I will give Arcane some credit in regards to, I'm not a particular huge fan of Dishonored. I do think the game design though in the game is very well done, and I think their blink mechanic works extremely well. The one thing I will give them props, at least they attempt to make Melee interesting compared to other first person games that may be from that same exact publisher who gets sold games back and forth. I'm talking about you, Skyrim. Boring as hell. Melee. At least they
Use magic.
At least they do it. I want to be a warrior with my bow and arrow or my sword, and you're making it boring both ways. I have to keep running away and shooting hundreds of arrows at something for it to finally fall down. It's like, God damn it. But anyways, at least they do the attempt, and I appreciate it for them. Like, I think something that will feel smooth at least is the controls and the mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm always a skeptic with that extra person element, especially if they say it's going to be CPU controlled if it's not player controlled. And how does that work? Because then McWomble, that ruins part of what you're saying, which is they give you these suite of powers and you can just wreak havoc. Well, you can't, because you have someone else trying to kill you, and that doesn't make it as exciting. It makes it more, it does change up the gameplay. It's almost as if it's like, can I turn off that person if I don't want them? That would be great, but I don't know if you can do that.
In all of the previews that have come out about it recently, so the ones that have come out this week, none of them mention that asymmetrical element.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's what made me even more nervous. It's like they're still not talking about how the second person works.
I wonder if they rebalanced it so it's not geared towards that anymore.
But then you lose the entire concept, because that was the entire concept, is you're trying to assassinate people and there's someone trying to stop you from assassinating them. That was their whole pitch.
When it first came out and nobody was keen on it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, everybody was like, well, that's fucking weird. Why do that?
In their last promo material, even in their preview, they still featured the second person. It's like they should totally be dropping that and saying, oh, we don't have a second person. They should be announcing that if that's not happening.
That's clearly the biggest problem with this game, is nobody knows what the hell it is.
Yeah, their marketing department, no offense, need to sit down with them and go, what are you guys doing? Because you guys are doing us no favors. Like, if I was Sony, I'd be upset with them, because this is an exclusive for your platform. And I would be sitting down with them and going, "What are you guys doing?" Maybe Microsoft said, "Let's just screw them over because we have Bethesda now, so just don't give them any more marketing money."
Dump
doubt
out the
it.
alpha build and be done with it.
Yeah, just
Look at this shit console. It won't even run Deathloop now.
yeah. No wonder. It's actually, I have a I will be curious on so like if the game does not turn out, which again we're all saying we are nervous of it turning out the way it is, except maybe Burkhoff because he gave me that look of I don't want to agree with this, and Evan. But if it does come out and it does not, one, perform well, two, like the concept is not really working, I'm wondering out of curiosity how much of like the Sony ponies will come out and be like, Microsoft fucked us over purposely because they wanted to screw us over with this game because they bought them and then they decided to not let them finish it the way it should have been done. And like how much of it is Xbox going, oh crap, we have this studio. They're going to make games for us.
So yeah, the only reason I would say that that's not what's going to happen is because I'm sure that part of the acquisition was based on projections, and their projections are based on how well certain things are going to perform, such as Deathloop on PS5.
Well, I think Deathloop can also be wrapped up with Ghostwire Tokyo, which also is a PlayStation exclusive.
That was going to be my next game.
Okay, I do have one after that, so we can segue into Ghostwire Tokyo, which I think it's the same situation. Is I don't know what the hell this game is about. The early concept was super interesting, but as soon as I saw it in first person, and I don't know what I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of first person games. I think they don't do combat as well in first person unless it's shooting. Like if it's not shooting, then the combat is not as satisfying. And for me, combat is a huge component, especially when it's something like facing against the supernatural. And for how actiony it came out to be, which then when I looked at the game, it looks like garbage for how it looks. If you look at that first trailer and look how it pans out, like I almost want to pull up the trailer just to show you guys of how shitty it looked. If you look at the skyline, it looks like a PS3 game. And this is supposed to be a PS5 game. Originally made for PS4. But even with that said, it doesn't even look as good as a PS4 game. I'm like, what is this crap?
Yeah, it's the initial media that was put out for Ghostwire Tokyo, I thought, this looks really interesting. Mm-hmm. This could be a Japanese game that actually I want to play.
Well, especially because it comes from the team that did The Evil Within, which I think The Evil Within had a lot of potential. I think just the concept of what they put the universe in was not as interesting. But I think marrying that with this concept was going to be really good. And that's where my expectation was going. So then when I see first person, I'm like, whoa, what happened? And maybe that's why the woman left the studio, because she's like, you're going first person with this game. What are you guys thinking?
I don't think so. First person was probably part of the original design.
For how crappy it looks, I doubt. Maybe they changed it last minute.
I don't know.
Sorry, McWomble, I interrupt you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Matt, you carry on talking.
I think this game suffers from the same thing that Deathloop has, where it's like we don't really know what this is.
At least this is further out, though. Yeah, they've got a lot of time.
Well, but yeah, I was like, they don't have a release date.
No, it may never come. But
I think that the thing that concerns me is the juxtaposition between the first set of media and then the first gameplay trailer that they showed. I really wasn't expecting the aesthetic to be that jarring. And it to be some kind of mystical hand casting magic.
It looks like Dishonored in Japan almost.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Yeah. It's like, is Bethesda just going to make Dishonored games, but in different areas for now on? That's their mantra now.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that, honestly.
I would if this is the quality you're getting. Like, I mean, again, like if this is what you're going to get on Xbox, like I'm going to be disappointed again.
Yeah, and aesthetically, it didn't look that great. and it's bright and colourful, but it looked like something that you could run on the Switch.
That's what I was thinking too.
So
I almost was like, "Is this? Are you sure it's PS5 exclusive? Are you sure it's not Switch?" Just
it also gave me vibes of Super Hot.
Okay.
That some of the character animations are quite blocky.
Yes. Yeah. I get that.
especially the powers, like it like they were supposed to look like flames, but there was blocks I could see in the detail.
There's like symbols and stuff coming. There's like Japanese, I assume Japanese symbols coming out. Like,
Watch, Evan will correct you and go, "That's not Japanese, bro.
That's not Japanese. No. I'm sorry.
We need our Japanese expert to review the information."
I don't know if Sony just picked two of the worst games to have
I know.
Bethesda exclusive.
I think Sony was just like, "Give us something. Just give us whatever. You have some garbage stuff. Just give it to us."
Do you think Phil was already talking to Todd Howard, and behind the scenes they were like, "Todd, what have you got in the works? Oh, we got Starfield, and show me some concept art and give me the elevator pitch for Starfield." Was that okay? What else you got? Well, we've got this new one from the people who did Evil Within. Okay, Evil Within's a good game. We'll get Evil Within on Game Pass. What's the new pitch? Yeah, not so sure about that. Yeah. You said Sony called? Okay, give that one to Sony.
Oh yeah. So okay, let's do it again. Of the two, this is funny because of the last two we've done, they've came from the same publisher. So
yes.
But of the two, which one has you more worried?
Ghostwire.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
because at least we know that the pedigree that Arcane have got. Yeah. Even if we don't understand what's going on in the game, I'm more than happy that what I will do in the game will be fun.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I liked the Evil Within 1 and 2, so I was actually a little bit disappointed they didn't do a third one. But yeah, at least in this space, like Deathloop, like fundamental mechanics I feel much more comfortable with what Arcane will do with Deathloop than what Ghostwire will end up being, because Tango game works, to be honest. As much as I like the Evil Within 1 and 2, they're a bit janky. They're not like the best things to play, and this looks like a game that you want the mechanics to be as solid as they possibly can be.
You know what I think will happen with Deathloop? No one's going to, or very few people will buy it.
Yep.
Someone will put up a tutorial video on YouTube of here's how you quote unquote beat the game, and then everyone will do that, and no one will play it ever again.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with all three of you, and OTAP's made a really good point earlier, which I will take. Thank you very much. Which is Ghostwire Tokyo does not have a release date, therefore there is more time to fix it compared to where Deathloop
or cancel it and then you can take it.
Or just cancel it. Yeah.
Deathloop is coming, and just in my mind, I already imagine how this is going to play out. Now, obviously, anything can change my mind. I'm not saying it's always set in stone, but this is how I see it so far with the trend it's going, is that it's going to release, and every review is going to go, controls are good, I just don't know what this game is.
Or
it's
the
like,
first review will come out and say, you've got to play this game for the equivalent length of time to unlock the Lionel Messi card in FIFA to actually be able to set up the correct quote unquote loop.
Yeah, or the thing will be, it's good, but without the second person.
Yeah.
Because the second person ruins the experience.
Yeah.
Right, Matt.
Go ahead.
So I think mine is the big elephant in the room.
Starfield.
Halo?
Yeah, Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be good. I mean, I expect that if we get a solid 6 to 8 hour campaign with some decent multiplayer, it's going to be a good game. But they've already said that they want to do like an open world, and they want to, try to make this a little bit different. And the multiplayer is going to be free and separate, and it's going to be, So I don't know. I think this one might end up being a big turd. To be honest.
Well, here's the thing. And it's like, I get you, Matt. I get you. It's like, yeah, I want a solid Halo. Cool. If you want a solid Halo, just play the Master Chief Collection. It's free on Game Pass.
Well, Infinite's going to be on Game Pass too.
Yeah, but if you want to play many hours of solid Halo gameplay, just play the Halo collection on Game Pass. Why don't you try something new, freshen up the franchise a little bit? It can still feel good, but like make it different. Right now, all it's got is a grappling hook.
Well, that's the risk though. Like that's the risk they're taking. They're going to try and change it up a little bit, right?
Whoa, broski, we got a grappling hook in play. It's like that's what they got. Is that enough, Matt? Is a grappling hook enough?
I don't know. Yeah.
What? No, answer the question. Is a grappling hook enough?
If you've got a grappling hook in that cupboard behind you, you know that you'd be running there. You'd be all over Las Vegas with that grappling hook. We'd be seeing you on the news in the UK. The man swings around Las Vegas like Spider-Man with grappling hook.
Is he wearing a Commander Shepard helmet? Oh, I think he is. Is that the Legendary Edition helmet? I think it is. Commander Shepard with a grappling hook, grappling around Las Vegas. Everybody, this must be the new promo for Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Is it just going to be Halo Just Cause then? Is that what?
Rafa is going to have a dream if that's what it is.
I mean, seriously though, like that is that what we're going to get? Because
Master Chief in a wingsuit.
Yeah, semi open world grappling hook.
I could just imagine him. Oh, that's so sad.
And his wings pop out like Buzz Lightyear.
Well, here's the thing too. Like when you fall, because it's going to be this giant. Well, they kind of said semi because they can't load enough of the game in the giant open world space, which is pretty disappointing for next gen hardware to be able to load up a map. And Assassin's Creed can load up an entire world in front of your eyes. But anyway, like I'm fascinated to see the fall damage on this thing. Like if you fall from a mountain, are you gonna die? Or is Master Chief going to come up with this cool mechanic where he'll maybe throw like a grenade down that creates like this comforter that like allows him to like slow down like last night? That would be cool. Like, see, that's the elements to add into
this is why people need Mitch in the room.
That's why Mitch. I am available for hire.
I've never been struck on Halo at all. So Halo Infinite is on my absolute meh list of games to be interested in. So it'd have to do something spectacular to actually pique my interest.
The campaign has never got me, but however, the multiplayer has always been something that had. Ever since I was a kid, the multiplayer with Slayer was some of the most fun stuff you could ever play. It's really entertaining. And unfortunately, I don't know if because of the market the way it is today, I don't know if they have the firepower to be able to capture the magic again. And so they have to do it through the campaign, and now the campaign is really disappointing.
Halo Infinite Battle Royale.
Or they're just going to shoehorn. I don't think that's enough, though. Or they're just going to shoehorn so much free-to-play bullshit into the multiplayer that it's not going to be fun.
Well, now it's a separate release. They might be more inclined to do that and be like, "Oh, it's okay. It's separate. It's not real Halo." So, it is, you fucks.
Keith, you know what you're gonna say, you know what they're gonna say if they go. Well, if they're gonna go Battle Royale, you're gonna go. It's not Warzone. It's not Apex Legends.
I prefer Apex Legends,
and it's not like it. Unfortunately. The Bungie feel of their shooting is not good enough anymore. Like it's because
it's 343. It's not Bungie.
Well, didn't let me finish my point there, Mister. It's okay.
Matthew, come on, don't interrupt people. It's rude.
No, it's that again, it's not there anymore because yes, it is 343, but also Bungie is everywhere. Those people that made the Halo games, they're all over the place. And so they taught people how to make their shooters feel really, really, really good. And so the Bungie feel of shooting is it exists everywhere. So that's no longer unique. Except I would say Destiny still feels probably the most Halo than Halo actually is.
Yeah, I would say that because
in shooting, because a lot of these shooters are not alien tech. And so that's
As
the
much as
difference.
I hate Destiny, the mechanics
I
of the
agree.
first game are so solid, and
Mhm.
they do feel so good. Like to actually,
Yeah.
uh,
If only they had better
sh-
storytellers that were on that game.
yeah, better storytelling, less backtracking, no online bullshit. Yeah. Anyway,
Like honestly, at this moment, I think they should move 343 to do something else, and they should have brought in Bungie to try it. Or yeah, it is considered Bungie still. Yeah, Bungie to do another Halo game and just outsource it, because clearly, I don't know if making a studio to make Halo is not working right now.
yeah. I mean, five is okay. The multiplayer at least was decent.
But
They
it's
made a few changes to the multiplayer, then, didn't they? From
They
what I
did.
remember, they tried to like modernize it slightly.
Yeah, it's more like every other shooter that you've ever played, but it
Yeah.
still kind of has the Halo feel to it.
but here's the thing, Matt. We're talking about Halo. Halo.
Yeah.
Halo is not okay. Halo can't just be okay. Halo has to be
Well,
fucking amazing, because Halo
that's
is the standard of Microsoft in their first party. They are the face of Xbox. They've been the face of Xbox forever. Now it has that.
It's actually on my Xbox, so I can guarantee that it is actually the face of Xbox.
And I was gonna say, has that face dwindled a bit? Absolutely.
yeah, that's exactly
But
why I'm bringing up
however,
Infinite.
yeah, and again, yeah, but it's like Halo can't just be okay, guys. Like that's not an okay standard to go by anymore. It's just not. It's not acceptable. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
I
They
I
slowly,
and I do it because I love to play a good Halo game. For God's sakes.
yeah, they slowly squeeze my enthusiasm out of this franchise over the years, and it's sad. And like much like Keith said, I hear a Halo Infinite, I'm more intrigued to play
Right.
it just to see what what's this going to be. I've got no real high anticipation for it for fucking Halo. So I don't know.
Well, and how
It's
crazy is it that
sad.
sometimes the asinine of these companies just blows my flippin' mind of how people are not in the room to say, stop it. Like, don't do this. Is the thing they released when they showed us Halo for the first time. You know, when the guy is doing his monologue, the villain monologue, you have his bad looking face, which I understand it's an early development build, but you chose to release it, so I have to criticize it for what it is. You're showing this ugly looking face,
That could
and
run
then
Switch.
and then you
That's what Microsoft's been planning all
yeah,
along.
that's what their Switch version.
Yeah.
That's their Switch version for Game Pass on Switch. So they show that horrible looking face quality, and not only do they show you that, they show you that during his monologue. They switch between that and this beautiful trailer they released the year before that, which is like, it is beautiful looking because it's CG. It's ran in CG, ran in the engine, but it's CG. And you see this stark difference of, look at this trailer we showed that says, oh my God, it's running on the engine in Series X. Or, yeah, Series X. Yeah, sorry, Series X. And then look at this ass-looking face you're actually going to play when you play this game. And he kept flipping between the two. I'm like, don't do that, because you're telling your customer, we promised you this. Look at this. Beautiful and ass.
Beautiful ass.
You don't put them together.
No.
Let's wait and see what happens on E3. We'll have an E3 episode at some point soon.
I'm so excited for that episode, to be honest. E3 cannot come soon enough for these guys. Like, they need to blow away. They have to blow us away. Like, if I'm not blown away, I'm not.
Well, I'm hopeful that now that Xbox and Bethesda have got together and merged.
Well, it's going to be a 7-hour conference.
Yeah.
One day for Xbox. Because
shit we won't get until 2025.
And then not only that, they have to always show more quantity over quality. So they always have to show at least 200 games. So now they have to show 200 games plus Bethesda games. So that's why it's a whole day. It's Xbox Day. It's like,
and that's what they're going to call it, apparently. Xbox Appreciation Day. Everyone get your Xbox tattoos. Does any, before we get distracted and talk about E3, does anyone have another game
I do.
that they want to talk about?
All right.
Go, Mitch.
This one is just to, I mean, you guys took like the best ones, so obviously this is not from cream of the crop pile. But mine is Biomutant.
Well, that's out next week.
And
Next week.
It's out next week. And here's my woe. My woe is not this game. My woe is people's expectations on this game. Because
They've had 4 years to hype it up.
Well, here's the other thing about the whole thing. It's like people are hyped up about this thing because the trailer was so good when they announced it. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Pull this camera out of focus. Jesus.
Man.
The sneeze was so strong. It shook the world. It shook LA. Another earthquake here in LA from my sneeze. But here's the thing is that the trailer itself was super, super good. Damn it. Okay, I was about to sneeze again. Okay. Jesus Christ. And clearly I'm allergic to talking about this game. Like this can't happen. So the trailer was just really, really, really well done. Like it was refined. It looked really good. The concept seemed really amazing. And it kind of hit away. But what people don't understand is this game is made by 20 people.
Yeah.
And so I think the expectation is people are setting themselves up for is, oh my God, this is going to be a AAA, super big, open world type of game. And it's like, no, it is an open world game, but it's made by 20 people. Put your reality perspectives in check. And so I'm very, very worried when this comes out and people are going to say, you know, I think based off my viewpoint, I'm excited for this game. But in my mind, I'm putting my expectations in check of being like, it's going to be an above average game. It's not going to be spectacular. And that's fine. That's okay. Made by 20 people, I'm putting my expectations in check. But what people are going to go is like, oh my God, it got 6 and 7s. And oh my God, it's trash. And like, how can a AAA game run like this before? And it's like, no, it's not what it is, guys. Guys, it's a small development studio trying something very ambitious. And you need to put that in check. Keith.
May I do the box quote for Biomutant?
Sure.
Biomutant, a bit better than Outriders.
Yeah, the B tier game.
And the reason I say that is I watched the hands-off demos for the game, and it looks as though you could be going through some quite big sections of empty world.
Mm-hmm. It's like
It did say
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
It's like,
they said
it's
that, and I was like, yeah, it's empty.
They
Yeah.
said it's what they say also. They said it was like a, but the combat looks fun. It's like it's a mix of Fable, Kung Fu Fable is what they call it.
and
Which is
Arkham
like cool.
series they mentioned as well, and I was like, what the hell?
But yes, like put your perspectives in check, people.
Well, it runs at 4K on the Xbox, so it's going to be 10 out of 10. So don't worry about it.
4K 60 locked on Xbox
Locked.
Series.
We will get into that issue, that controversy later, which I must give TH Nordic their props for how the PR department is handling that stuff, because people are being like, oh my God, they got paid off by Xbox, and then they reply going, we wish. And then then one other one I read, which was hilarious, which is they said they were like they were like, oh my God, you're gonna lose so much sales from not having this run in 4K 60 frames a second on PS5. And they go, we rather have that than release a crappy game. It's almost like they're trolling CD Projekt Red with the way they're responding to people, being like, you want us to release another Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
I'm sure some people would. I call those people stupid.
Otap's eyes are scaring me. What happened?
Keith's reaction was correct. There are those crazy people out there.
So yeah, it's my woe is the expectations for this game with people, because after I saw Conan play this game, I was like, oh yeah, I'll enjoy this game, like for sure.
Yeah, I've never had crazy high expectations for this. I mean, this to me is an action adventure RPG that pulls from Watership Down and has a post-apocalyptic bent on it. It looks interesting, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. It's been my curiosity has been the thing that holds me on this game.
I think even if it is janky and buggy, it'll still have a lot of merits to it because it's trying
Do you
so
think
many
that will
different
add to
things.
do you think that will add to part of its charm potentially?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it'll have like a flair to it, like a special kind of flair that you just don't get in other games. A charm, a certain charm to it. That's the better term.
yeah. I mean, because at least this post-apocalyptic world is vibrant and colorful, and you play cute
Full of
animals.
anthropomorphized
Yeah,
animals.
And then it's like not only like you can there's like evil tribes and good tribes, and you can pick which like tribes you want to side with and like help
Yeah.
them in their accomplishments. And then like
I,
the tree
I,
in the center evolves around the choices you make. So like the tree will dwindle and die more if you choose to be on the evil side, where if you're on the good side, the tree will be more vibrant. Like it's just
okay. So as a wrap up question, which of these games that we've talked about do we hope to turn out the best? Starting with Matt.
maybe because it releases on Tuesday, Biomutant, but I'm probably gonna wait until it hits Game Pass.
what if it
agree.
never hits Game Pass?
Matt
I
will
don't
never
know.
buy it.
I might buy it for $20.
I'm saying Biomutant as well because to me it's the more interesting out of all of the games that we've talked about. So it's action RPG. That's 2 boxes ticked for me.
Yeah.
Well,
It's got
for the what if Biomutant wasn't in it? Because again, I'm only picking this because of the outside people, not because I think the game is going to be horrible, or like I'm worried because of the game's quality. I'm worried about people's expectations on this game and having it affect how people view this game. Like it, mine is more of a because you guys took all the good ones. So like besides Biomutant, which one of the other ones would I'm more curious about that for you guys? Oh, Taps, you can go since they're all thinking.
the stunned silence.
Another
Say
game.
it
So
all,
yeah,
shouldn't it?
which one I want to be? So what was the question?
Which one do you hope is going to be better than what we're disappointed in besides Biomutant?
Definitely Halo, just for the simple reason that I've defended Phil so much publicly that I
You
needed to get a win
debated
here.
for him.
Yeah, exactly. I need the guy to get a win, and I think Halo is an important franchise for Xbox as a whole. And yeah, I feel like I would like that one to perform.
Let me
best
do
out
it
of
one
most
more
of them.
like follow up kind of like we'll make it a two-parter. So which one would you hope and which one do you think will? Of all of them be the better of it.
I would say Deathloop. No, Biomutant. Sorry,
Nope, not Biomutant's not on the list.
Deathloop. Then I'm
Okay.
going with Deathloop. I just trust Arcane more out of all the guys that we've spoken about.
Okay, I'm going to go with which one do I think will turn out the best? Deathloop. Which one do I hope won't end up sucking
Shit.
major bags of shit? Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Because I don't want Rocksteady to end up on the kind of developer shit list of because they can make really great games as they proved by Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Somebody just needs to task them with making a Metroidvania.
Have you been talking to Evan? Has Evan suddenly come into millions and millions of dollars?
I'll go. I think I'm gonna kind of flip a little bit on what Keith was. What I think will be better is Suicide Squad because of the pedigree of Rocksteady, and they did take a lot of time to figure out what they wanted to do, and they haven't necessarily made a bad game yet. So I go off based off reputation. What I hope isn't a bad one. Halo. But again, like that's with a lot of fairies and hopes and dreams.
Let's wait and see what happens at E3, and then we can revisit that.
Yeah. Well, we guess we won't have to do like the disappointing Gears meter like we did 2 years ago. Remember when Gears wasn't shown at E3 and we're like, that's another Gears. It's like
I think the one that I hope won't suck hind tit is Halo, and I think the one that probably will be better than what we expect is Ghostwire.
Okay. Well, why was you think because it has more time?
Yeah, it's got the time. It's got time on its hands. So
Father Time. What's that saying? Father Time what?
I don't know the
I have
saying.
no idea what you're on about.
There's some saying about Father Time and something. I can't remember. Dang it. I rely on you guys for support
It's
here.
probably something that was it's a phrase in Wisconsin that
Father Time makes you an old cunt.
And on that note,
Oh, I'm not ready. You still haven't told us about all or like where they can find us.
oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So you can follow us at
Housekeeping.
Pixel Pints Pod on Instagram or Pixel_Pints on Twitter. I've got a video that I need to put up on both. Mitch, you'll appreciate that because it shits on Indiana Jones. And it's from Outriders. So there's one element of Outriders that you might appreciate. You can follow us on twitch.tv/pixelpints. You can follow us on YouTube where we will archive all of our videos. You can watch Dan try and play through Mass Effect at the moment. So I was quite enjoying watching him have his first experience of Mass Effect. He seemed to be enjoying it. He couldn't figure out how to use Medigel for a while, which was funny.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I like that he's a Vanguard class and he's running around with a sniper rifle. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Role play the damn game if you pick Vanguard.
I'm like, Dad, just FYI, you can use shotguns. You know that, right? So he did switch, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind in the previous game that certain skills were locked based on what class you picked. It made it more enjoyable to go back and then play as a different class. As someone who's spent, I know, over 500 hours playing those 3 games,
Right.
I don't know why I bought the Legendary Edition. I've done pretty much everything that you can do in those 3 games.
I actually, for someone that wasn't going to, I think I actually will buy it. I mean, I played them all, like, for the record, but I think because there's nothing coming out. I mean, there's nothing that's been out lately, so it's like it's kind of a perfect timing for this.
Shin Megami Tensei 3 HD remaster.
Nah, I rather play. I rather
It's coming
play
out Tuesday.
Nah, it's okay. I rather play Mass Effect.
I'd rather accidentally hit my hand with a hammer than play Shin Megami Tensei.
I'm the only one out of all of us that is like super into that game. Everybody's like, nah, it's all right.
I like
don't
Persona
care.
more. That's just me.
I'd rather-
Have teenagers hurting themselves to create demons is not really my cup of tea.
Anyway,
I didn't know what it's about. I just this kind of Japanese weird RPG thing. That means Keith is totally turned off. And what else? Where else can people find us?
I forgot where you were.
Instagram. Have you done Instagram yet?
Done Instagram, done Twitter,
YouTube,
done
Twitch.
YouTube, done Twitch.
Okay, that's everything.
You can find OTAPS' podcast at Idle Game Chat on Twitter, or if you search for Idle Game Chat on YouTube, you'll find him there as well. Every Monday, come rain, shine, or father to time, there will be Idle Game. Yeah, there will be Idle Game Chat.
Yes.
All right. I think it's pretty solid. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
You ready, Matt?
Huh? I was like, ready for what?
We do that every episode now. It's like a staple. How did you miss that?
I don't know.